Hey, I'm James Liebeck, Principal Product Manager for the Pipeline Execution Team in the Verify stage of GitLab. I'm sharing my screen today. This is an issue that I created and was part of my Q3 and Q4 personal development goals, and that was to shadow a group manager. As I think about my career and progressing forward, one of the things that I've looked at doing is becoming a people manager, and so I thought shadowing would be a great opportunity for that. Around the same time, I was able to actually step into an acting role as the interim group manager for the pipeline teams on the Verify within the Verify stage. So I wanted to kind of walk through the topics that I covered, give my feedback about this to kind of close this issue out and wrap it up as the final artifact of this. So the topics that I thought I should cover throughout the quarter in the coffee chats that I was having and the experiences that I was looking to gain that I thought a group manager would do was thinking about stage level direction work. And I'm going to go through these one by one and leave my impressions. So thinking about stage level direction work, I was able to talk with Kevin, one of the group managers within the ops section. And while we didn't get into this too much in our coffee chat, as part of my acting role, I was able to look more broadly across those pipeline teams and think about how different directions supported the OKRs for the entire stage and then rolled up to the broader investment themes for the year and really fit into that direction. So that's something I try to think about as just a product manager within my group, but it was different to think about how those things work together and then roll up and then fit into a cohesive direction. The stage level opportunity came as an investment case creation review. While I didn't have any investment cases to directly review, I participated in some of the review that the director level did and taking the investment cases that had already been reviewed by Jackie and Kenny, the group manager and the director, and kind of speak to those as the representative for the pipeline teams. And then had a great discussion with Kevin as he thinks about looking across things that are in flight or potential investment cases, just what are the mechanics of that as he sits down and looks at those. Customer calls and escalations. Fortunately, we didn't have much for big customer calls or escalations as the PM for the pipeline execution team. It's something that I'm brought into regularly already in talking with important customers about their CI use cases, hopefully not problems they're having, but that has popped up. So that wasn't much different than what I was expecting. In previous coffee chats, I'd heard you're going to have a lot of these. This is potential. I think that really wasn't a difference in the role as much as the area and some of the other group managers that I've spoken with about their cadence of customer escalation calls, just depending on where they're at in the product. Understanding what the stable counterparts do outside of R&D. I didn't meet with many stable counterparts outside of R&D, that being product and development, but I did meet regularly with my stable counterparts within, that being the manager of managers on the engineering side and on the quality side, as well as our UX researcher. Got more regular exposure and discussion with them. That went pretty well as expected as I meet with those kinds of folks at my peer level today as a product manager. What was different was trying to compartmentalize as I was in the role of product manager and group manager of not just what my team is doing, but what all the teams are doing, and trying to make choices and decisions and talk about potential trade-offs across those pipeline teams and what's best overall for the stage and moving things forward from an investment perspectives or in resourcing perspectives. If we needed to pull folks off of one team to focus on an area, is that really the most important thing, even if it wasn't my team that was going to benefit directly from it? So that was definitely interesting, and that goes right into the understand the staffing challenges. I've always thought about that as how many developers do I have? Can I move my roadmap forward? This was really thinking more just beyond the product folks, but across the entire stage of where do we have developers, where do we have quality folks, where do we have marketing folks, where can we put the right people on the right spots, and discussing that, not necessarily making those decisions, but talking about how we would influence what gets worked on and how we might kind of shift some priorities around or investment thoughts around across the entire stage. Again, trying to compartmentalize my work as a product manager for a team and a group manager, which was a little tricky throughout the quarter. Thinking about how the role is different from other leadership roles. That was kind of interesting in, again, keeping those priorities aligned, trying to think more broadly than just my area. I've always thought about how my stuff rolls up into investment themes, but not how those then turn around and trickle back down. What's the right team to work on the right thing? How can the teams help each other? Which is something I want to start thinking about more and influencing more across stage projects and initiatives. So that was a really good exercise in starting to think about that, or continuing to think about that and really exercise that muscle of what's the right thing to work across the entire or across the three pipeline teams, not just within my team as it rolls up in the investment cases, um, and just keeping those priorities aligned. And then coaching and mentorship, I found really interesting. And the differences really between mentoring and managing were really exposed for me. I've spent a lot of time mentoring within the company, outside of the company, as part of other groups. And that's definitely more at an arm's length, even within the company, because you are not directly responsible and have influence over that person's career path potentially. And you're doing some different things, have some different responsibilities. So it's definitely interesting in having that more day to day impact and doing that day-to-day coaching. One part that I struggled with was getting the right level of feedback and giving that feedback, or getting the right level of anecdotal or direct evidence about what they were doing, what that person wanted to work on within their career development, or within their day-to-day, and giving them feedback on it in a more real time. I've kind of just leaned into my muscle memory of mentoring, of having all of those interactions and one-on-ones of what did you do? How did you feel about it? Here's maybe a different way to approach it, and not proactively going out and seeing what they were then doing and providing more of that real-time coaching. So that's something I want to take with me into any potential management role. So those were the things that we mostly covered. What we didn't cover primarily with people and performance management as part of the shadow. I did do some of that in my acting role. I'll admit that I definitely struggled there. Should have asked for more help, but it's something that I want to continue to learn and grow in that area. And this was a great, not low stakes, but a great trial for me to get into that and see how I could do with that and where I could improve. So overall, I would highly encourage anyone to, if you're looking at a role, try to go shadow, try to have those coffee chats. Definitely invest some time in doing the thing where you can and seeing how the process goes. Make assumptions about what you think is going to happen, write them down, and then test those theories of, is this really how it went? Why did it go differently? Why did it go the same? Was I right about those things? That'll really expose for you what you think that role is going to be and tell you how it's going to be different, and if you're really excited about that or not. So that's a recap of my shadow, and just wanted to share that and kind of close this issue out. Thanks.